Yo, what's up, guys? I know I've been gone for a while, but I am back, I promise, and I got a lot of stuff I'm coming out with for you guys. It's going to be absolutely amazing, but today we're going to talk about how I navigate through Chop. How do I know when to trade? A lot of people hit me up, yo, Isaac, I have a strategy, but I just don't know when to trade. My recognition sucks. I don't know, if I should be, looking for quicker plays or scalping, or I should be holding plays longer. How do you know when you should be taking those trades, right? So today we're gonna get into that. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Hey, just to let you know, Inner Circle is running a 50% off sale, okay? 50% off sale. This is the first time we've ever done this is actually the first sale we've done all year, right? If you don't know what the Inner Circle is, it's a 6 to 12 month mentorship with myself and my team. We're gonna walk you into profitability. You wanna go with prop firms, we're gonna make sure you get funded and paid out. You wanna trade options, Forex, that's completely up to you. We are price action traders, so we have price action strategies. We have a super simple approach, super big on discipline, accountability, but there's a bunch of stuff that we have to offer. If you're interested in some type of mentorship like that, feel free to click the link down below in the description, book a call with the team, and we will get you right, all right? So the name of the game for me, guys, is the bigger time frames, right? The bigger time frames, those are gonna be the most important time frames because the bigger time frames hold more weight, right? We wanna use the bigger time frames to give us the general direction, and the smaller time frames are more for execution, right? I do execute on multiple different time frames. I execute sometimes on the 1, 5, 15, 30, hourly. But when it comes to understanding where the market is currently, bigger time frames at 100%, right? The bigger time frames are gonna help me do that. So let's go ahead and go over, a couple reasons or a couple different methods I use, or really one method I use to understand, where we are, currently trading, right? What kind of trade should I be looking for? And it's super simple. When I tell you, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. So guys, when I start the day, one thing I want to look for is, again, general direction on the bigger time frame. Now, when I can find a general direction on the bigger time frame, let's say for instance, we're looking very bullish on the bigger time frames, I will go to my lower time frames and look for my bullish setups, right? I'm not biased. I always, have scenarios for the upside or downside because you never know what can happen. But if the bigger time frames are showing bullish activity, I'm going to look for bullish setups. If the bigger time frames are showing bearish activity, I'm going to look for bearish setups. What you don't want to do is short an uptrend or buy a downtrend, right? You don't want to do that, right? So for example, let's go ahead and look at this, right? And this is the current ES chart, right? So we're just going to take a quick look, and I'm going to go over just a few things just a few things we just talked about, right? For example, right, you can see here we've been on the downtrend, right? I want to look for shorts as we fall on this downtrend, right? We've been on this downtrend, right? You can see here, right? We rejected this high, and then we rejected this high again, right? We rejected again, we rejected again. So I understand where we're at on the bigger time frame, right? We're just looking at the daily for right now, right? For example, right, way back here, right, I remember when we first broke out of this level right here, right, multiple rejections at this same level, then we broke out. Guess what? Because we broke out on a bigger time frame, the daily breakout, I'm looking for bullish moves, right? I'm not going to go to lower time frames and start shorting. No, we are breaking out of a key level on a bigger time frame. I'm looking for a bullish move, right? You can see, this is just beautiful breakout, right? I'm looking for I'm with the bulls right here, right? An example right here. While we broke out, we retested this level, right? We have support right here. I'm looking for a bullish move. We come back down to support. I'm looking for a bullish move, right? Bigger time frames are that's where I'm making not my decisions, because you never know what can happen because you do multi-time frame analysis, but this is where it all starts, right? This is where I start forming my bias for the day or maybe for the week, right? Because if you have for example, right here, when we have a bigger time frame breakout, those breakouts are going to last much longer. For example, if we saw this exact same setup on a 5-minute chart, that's completely fine. This is a completely valid setup no matter what time frame you're looking at it on. Because if this was the 5-minute chart, right, this play will last what, 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe an hour, or maybe a full day's move, right? But on a bigger time frame, the only difference between this setup being on the 5-minute chart and this setup being on the daily chart is the longevity of the play, right? Because this happened, because the particular setup happened on the daily chart, this move is going to be just that much bigger, right? So I know that this is going to be a multi-day breakout, as you can see, multiple day breakout, and there's going to be ample opportunity to look for longs, to look for buy opportunities, right? Call options, whatever you want, whatever you look for, whether you trade futures, options, forex, it doesn't matter, right? This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for. First off, we just talked about where we do want to trade, right? I want to trade when I have daily direction, 4-hour, hourly direction. The bigger time frames are showing me exactly what's happening in the market. Hey, based off the daily chart, we've been on a mega downtrend, right? I shouldn't be looking for a lot of buy opportunities. Yes, these are multiple days. Yes, there's opportunity on the pullbacks, on every pullback before we retest this trend line here. But overall, I understand what's going on, right? I'm not gonna, some people see this and be like, you know what? Yo, we're reversing. We're going all the way back up to highs where I see, you know what, based on the bigger time frames, it looks like, we're still in this downtrend. Because one thing I don't want you to do is, look, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish days in a row. You may just be caught on this, hey, we're actually going to go back to the moon or whatever. But if you see the bigger picture, you understand that, hey, we're just retesting this trend line just to reject it again, and we're actually still very much so in this downtrend, right? You don't see that stuff, then guess what? You're going to get caught and lose a bunch of money. So we talked about when we want to trade. We want to go with the flow of the market, definitely on the bigger time frames. Now, when do we not want to trade? Right? Or when do we want to understand, hey, we shouldn't be holding on to trades very long in certain types of market? Because we already talked about, for example, like here's another example right here. Look, we had a move up, we had a rejection, move back up, rejection, and then we finally broke this level. Guess what? When we break this level, this is a daily breakout. I feel great about this play. This is going to be a multi-day breakout. Why? Simply because it's on a daily time frame, right? And if this was the 5-minute chart, this would be a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75-minute play, right? Assuming you sold at the perfect time at the top, right? This would have been a 75-minute play. This setup, price action setups are price action setups. Remember that, guys. 5-minute chart, an hour and a half play, right? Beautiful play. But it's the same setup on a bigger time frame, daily time frame. So I can go ahead and make the assumption that this is going to be a multi-day breakout. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 days of upside, right? Obviously we started chopping right here, but you can see that before the trend actually reversed, we had 15 days of green, right? Just a simple multi-day breakout. These kind of days, on these kind of breakouts on the bigger time frames, these are going to be the days where I typically hold a lot longer. When we have clear direction on the bigger time frames, when we have clear direction on the bigger time frames, this is when I want to buy and kind of hold my plays, right? Usually those are where the opportunities are going to come from. Where I'm not just saying, guys, just because we break out on the daily does not mean you automatically go buy and hold. Right? Because just on the 5-minute chart, how we can break out, then come back down, and then we may not break out for another 2-3 candles. We can do the same thing on the daily time frame. So you always want to make sure that you're doing your multi-time frame analysis, you're doing your setups, you have your risk, you're managing your risk, all that stuff. Right? We don't execute on the daily time frame. We use it as confidence for possible execution on the lower time frames as we go about our day. Right? But generally speaking, like I said, when I have when I see a daily breakout, a high level, high time frame breakout, daily, hourly, daily, 4-hour, hourly, all those 3 time frames right there. When I see a breakout on those time frames, hey, I'm looking for a massive move somewhere. Right now, where do we not want to trade? Right, where do we just not want to trade at all? Right, if I step into the market, right, it's the market's not open yet, and I'm just doing my pre-market charting. I go on the bigger time frames, and I see stuff like this. Right, look at this right here. I see this on the bigger time frames. These are the markets you want to stay away from, guys. Right, oftentimes what happens is, look, we have a really good move, and then we go into chop. right? What happens is people eat off these really good moves, but they want to continue to eat no matter what, and they get caught giving all their profits back when the market goes back to this, right? And this is where you don't want to trade. This is where you want to stay out the market, right? Or if anything, like I said, you see decent candles in within that chop. So some people like to scalp or whatever, but if I see that we're in a consolidation zone, a chop zone, where we have sideways action on the bigger time frames, I'm either out the market, or I understand that this is not a buy and hold market. And usually 100% of the time I'm sizing down a lot, because I'm not going to put a lot of risk on the table if I know the market isn't going to be very favorable towards price action traders at the moment, right? So these markets you want to stay away from, right? You want to stay away from these markets, guys. And one exercise that I want you guys to do to actually get really good at identifying these markets is I want you to just go identify chop zones, because the quicker you can identify it, the quicker you will be able to be like, or be able to, come into the market and be like, you know what? I understand what kind of market it is. Isaac told me, hey, if we're not showing direction on the bigger time frames, or if we're chopping on the bigger time frames and consolidating on the bigger time frames, it's usually not going to be a great market, right? So look at this, right? Let's go ahead and just pinpoint some areas where, maybe we understand that the market just isn't great right now, right? And then after this, I'm going to show you something that's really going to put everything in perspective for you, right? We don't want to trade in all this, right? We want to get out of all this, right? This doesn't, and meanwhile we're just on the daily chart, but because we understand that the bigger time frames is where the money really is, or not where the money's made, but where at least everything's understood, or a lot of things are understood. Man, when you get into the market, you can just see that, you know what, maybe today isn't going to be a great day, because most of the money that you lose on trades you just shouldn't have taken anyway. Very rare, like there are like good losses and bad losses, right? A good loss to me is a loss that, hey, I got into this trade because it was a part of my strategy. The market looked good. I thought I was going to do this, but it just didn't do it. I was wrong. Cool, small loss, risk managed. But the bad trades are trades that you take in the market that just isn't, tradable, but you trade it anyway, and then you take losses like that. Most of you guys, if you just eliminated all the bad trades, all the bad losses, you would be a very successful trader. But you have really good trades and you have really bad losses, right? It's very hard to thrive like that, right? So let's keep on going. And after this, I promise you guys, I'm going to show you something that's going to change the game for you, right? And again, I'm just staying on the daily for right now. Now, guys, here's what I want you to understand. This is the secret sauce right here. This is the secret sauce. You want to trade out of the chop, right? Here's what happens, right? Based on my experience, like I've gotten caught. I've lost thousands of dollars figuring out this lesson, because I'm the one who taught myself, right? You want to avoid the chop and trade outside the chop. What you realize right here, guys, is every time we draw a chop zone, what follows? A really good move. A really good move, right? Check this out, right? Actually, I'd actually consider this whole thing chop, right? But look, chop, we chop outside the chop, clear direction, right? This was a choppy move up, like the whole way, this whole pullback. Guess what? Outside that chop, clear direction. Clear direction. I'll show you, and I'm going to show you examples of this. I'm going to show you an exact example of what happened today in the market for two trades I took. That's going to explain this perfectly as well, right? We have chop right here. Guess what? After the chop, clear direction. See this right here? After the chop, clear direction. Multi-day breakout. After this chop right here, look, clear direction, right? And we actually had a zone right here, but I don't want to confuse you guys, so I'll draw it back. right? But look, after the chop, clear direction, right? After this chop, right, depending on your strategy, for me, this would have been my entry right here. Clear direction right after the chop. If you avoid the chop, you will have direction after that. Now, obviously, you don't just want to assume that, oh, I'm just going to get into a play right now because we're finally breaking out the chop, right? You always have to be aware of the market climate, right? The September, October have been really choppy, right? End of July, right? It's been really choppy, right? So understanding that, you know, you're not just want to rush into plays because just the marketing for on a stretch of multiple weeks have been super choppy. But if you can identify the chop zones and make sure you're making your trades outside of those zones, the game gets a lot easier, right? Outside the chop, we get direction, right? Obviously, this is kind of extreme. This was extreme chop right here. But as we go down to our lower time frames, the idea is exactly the same. And this is what helped me today, right? So let's actually clear this out, and I'm going to show you the exact play I took today. That where this I won't even call this a strategy because it's not a strategy. I have my price action setups, but I use the same. The idea is the same. Hey Isaac, it's choppy. Hey, how about let's stay back. Let's trade outside this chop, right? And the quicker you can identify chop, the better, right? And for those who don't know what chop is lack of direction, right? When the market has no direction, right? So check this out. The market open. First play I took, pre-market high breakout. I thought we were going to break out. We didn't break out. And then we went up, we went down, we went up, we went down. Guess what? I'm not trading that. I'm not even looking at that, right? But guess what? I recognize, hey, we have chop. Let's actually try to see if we can find a break of this chop. Guess what? We got an entry right here, and we took it all the way down to this level here. $3,500 right there on, I'm sorry, this was EX. So this was my $2,100 play. This wasn't 35, this was 21. But look right here, look, outside the chop. Outside the chop, I didn't execute on the 1 minute. I'm just showing you so it's clear for you and you can see it. But look at this lack of direction right here. Ooh, don't try to trade that. We're not trying to trade this, guys. We're not trying to trade this at all. Outside of this, there's opportunity, right? We go back on a 5 minute because this is the time frame I executed this trade on, and this is usually the time frame I do execute on, even though I do execute on multiple time frames. This is the most common, right? Look at this, right? No direction for the first 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes of the market. Guess what? We break under this level. I recognize, hey, we're breaking the level and we're breaking the chop. We're outside the chop now. Let me see if we can go from our level 4190 down to our level 4180. Guess what? We did. Beautiful move. But guess what happened? Right after that move, we went right back in the chop. Guess what? No trades. But guess what? Let's find an opportunity outside the chop, right? Find opportunities outside the chop. Don't try to trade in the chop. Another point is, hey, don't try to scalp it either. Right? Don't try to scalp it. What scalping does is, if you have a day trading strategy where it's a strategy where you usually hold trades a little longer because you want to capitalize on plays, don't then go to a choppy market and start scalping, because what you'll do, you'll start conditioning yourself for the scalps, and you won't, when it's time to hold trades again, you'll be still taking profit really quick because you can recondition yourself, right? Instead, either find your opportunity or don't trade at all. That's what I would prefer. That's what my advice would be, right? Our second play of the day, guess what? For ES, for SPY, we caught it from here to here, and then I had NQ right next to me, right? We had a play. I identified the chop. I wanted to get above these highs. Guess what? This one candle right here paid a lot of money. We took that from the break outside the chop above our level. Took it all the way up, boom. We were in this play for about 7 minutes, and then we ended up continuing back down, but it was a beautiful trade. It was a beautiful trade outside the chop. It was clear direction. We weren't wicking all over the place. We weren't frustrated that we like we would have been had we try to keep trading this right here, up, down, side to side, up, down, no direction, right? But we caught a beautiful move right here. Now, for this particular play, I should have entered down here. I just didn't see it at the time. But looking back on it, that'd have been a beautiful entry. Stop loss right above level, take that thing all the way up, bam, that'd have been beautiful. But outside the chop was where my head was at. I was looking at the 5-minute chart at the time, not the 1 minute. Obviously, the 1 minute showed great buy opportunity down here. But we look at the 5 minute, hey, I understand the market we're in. I'm not going to be super risky, try to get a 100% play in this type of market. I got to really pick my spots really well. And look, I noticed that, hey, we're still choppy on the 5 minute chart. This is a chop zone. I want to get away from that chop zone, right? I don't want to trade within it. I want to trade outside of it. And look, we got outside of it, clean break, right? I love breakouts. It was an excellent breakout. And then we took it all the way up. And then we sold, had a trailing stop below our first price target, which was here. And then we exited once we saw that, hey, we look like we're going to actually reject and come back down. But it was a beautiful trade. And just so you guys know, trading outside the chop is for any time frame, right? If we're on the 30 minute, guess what? If we're in the 30 minute, hey, trade outside the chop, right? And we're always going to have price action, guys, right? Price action is a big part of. I'm a price action trader. We're not just going to just take trades to take trades. Oh, we're out of chop. Take a trade. No, that's not how I operate. Right? But I understand where we're at right now. Look, tomorrow when the market opens, I'm gonna see, hey, this is choppy, right? This is not great. This is not good price action right here. I understand where we're at, right? But guess what? After every big move, chop is usually followed, and after every chop, after every consolidation, after every sideways action period, usually a move follows, right? Move, chop, move, chop, move, chop. Right, that's a common knowledge within the market, right? Guess what? Chop right here, clean move, right? And now we're on the 30 minute. Look, sometimes this thing is just super choppy all the way down. Understand that that's not action you want to trade. Guess what? We have this right here, chop zone, break above highs, entry on the breakout, take it up to a previous level somewhere up here, right? Beautiful trade. Look, chop right here. Hey, let's get out of this chop. Let's get out of this chop. Guess what? We're going to use price action at all times. At all times, right? Rejection, support, break under support, right? Break under support. Let's get an entry here on the break, right? Stop loss above level, right? Let's take it down to a previous level. Price target would have been somewhere around here, right? Boom. We go all the way back down, whatever. If you want to hold, that's up to you, right? But you guys get the point, right? Guess what? Right here. Super choppy action. I don't want any parts of that, right? We break above these highs. Guess what? Entry above break. Stop loss right below. Take this thing all the way up to a previous level, right? Guess what? Guess what? Choppy action. Break outside of the chop, right? And then, like everything in the market, guys, nothing is ever set in stone. Nothing is ever absolute in the market. So let's say we break out a chop, we may break out, come right back in chop, right? We don't know, but the idea is, guys, we want to stay away from the chop at all times. We don't want any parts of the chop, right? Free from chop, hashtag free from chop, hashtag free chop, or hashtag no chop, hashtag free price action, or whatever it is, right? We don't want to trade chop, guys. Stay away from it, all right? So what I want you guys to do, this is homework for you guys. I want you to go on a blank chart and identify where the chop is on the bigger time frames, and understand that, hey, this is the action I don't want to trade. I want to scale down, or I want to at least understand that this is not going to be a market with a lot of direction. So I'm going to go into the market with that understanding. I'm not going to be frustrated that I'm getting wicked out, or I'm getting faked out all the time, because I understand that this is just where the market is right now. And once you take that with you guys, I promise you, trading will get a lot easier. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. I will see you guys next time. And I promise I'm not going to go on any crazy hiatus again. I am here to give value, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you later.